everyone, welcome again to our Wednesday live here at Nixie. Okay, while we wait for people to join, welcome Chinoye, welcome Nina, welcome Donji, I hope I said that right. Welcome Akin Pelui, welcome everyone, we see you guys, welcome. Welcome Midi, welcome everybody. Okay, so I'll do a brief introduction. This live is to talk about Canada study permit applications and the new developments that happened this year, 2024. My name is Anita and I have my colleague with me here.
So my name is Precious, so I'll be running you through, as my colleague has said, through the recent updates that happened in Canada in the past few months. Into last year, December. So what we're going through, please do well to drop your questions and any clarification that you might have while we're going through. We'll do you honor to answering just before we end the live. So even if you're not comfortable with dropping your questions in here, you can always send it to us directly. Our able ends and we are available and ready to take all of your inquiries and all of your questions. So we'll get right into it.
Alright everybody, so we'll wait for people to join in. While we wait, please join in and let's just give people a few minutes and then we'll get right into it. So if you're here already, welcome once again. My name is Anita and I have Precious here as well. We're currently waiting for more people to join the live and then we'll get started on it. So tell a friend to join this live, drop messages for your loved ones, and let's help everyone, understand the study processes for Canada and new implementation this year. So just wait for more people to join the live.
Patiently waiting, so please keep joining. We see you all. Thank you. First join. Okay, welcome. Justice King, welcome. We're happy to have you. Thank you very much, Justice King. Alright.
Welcome guys.
Welcome. Fabulous creation, welcome.
Welcome guys, welcome Justice King, welcome Ato. We're happy to have you here. Please spread the word. We'll be starting shortly.
Okay, welcome. We're happy. Thank you so much for joining us. We don't think this GR Confectionaries.
Might
join. Welcome. So I think we can get right into it while waiting for more people to join. So we have a couple of things on our outline that we want to discuss. A part of which is what is the Canada study permit, the eligibility requirements, and the recent update and implication of such updates. So once again, as we said when we started, please, if you have any questions, you have clarification, please you can drop on the chat box. If you're also not comfortable dropping on the chat box, you can send us directly. Our able hands will attend to it. So just about now, we're getting right into it. So the first on our list is what is a Canadian study permit or study visa, as some know it as. So a study permit or a Canadian study visa is a legal document that is issued to foreign nationals that wish or would like to study in Canada at a designated DLI. So,
thank you very much, Precious. Please, what is a DLI?
So this is a very important question because, as we've said earlier, to study in Canada, you need to have been accepted into a designated DLI, or rather a DLI. So a DLI simply means a designated learning institute. Now, this is the approval that the territory you're studying in or the province you're studying in gives to a college, a university, or an institution to accept foreign nationals. Why this is very important is that if you go to a school that doesn't have the approval of the government of that territory or province to accept foreign nationals, you might not be eligible for a postgraduate work permit. So one of the essence of going to study at the DLI is that you are allowed to work after school. So please do well to confirm that the school you are going to study at is confirmed to accept foreign nationals, so you won't be missing out on any opportunities or anything that is available to foreign nationals. That is very important.
And in addition to that, you can also reach out to our counselors and reach out to us. I will be able to walk you through determining which schools have the DLI approved or not.
Thank you very much, Anita, for that addition. So the next thing we have on our list is who are those eligible to study in Canada. So we want to know if you're eligible, so you won't go through the process of paying so much money and realize that you're not eligible. So as we've mentioned earlier, for the fact that you're foreign national, you're eligible to study in Canada. Well, as well, we also advise if you're not in one of our major countries which we directly deal with, which is Nigeria and Ghana, we advise that if you're watching us from outside any other country outside of this one I just mentioned, you can always go on the IRCC portal, which is the Canadian official website, to confirm that your country is among one of the eligible countries to study in Canada. Another eligibility is that you actually want to go and study in Canada. So if you're actually going to study in Canada, you are eligible to apply for a study permit. If you're looking to work full time, I don't think study permit is the best option for you. However, applying for a study permit allows you to work 20 hours limited time a week. So do you have anything to add to that? So I think what we did a little bit of justice, or maybe if you still need more questions you can still ask. So the next on our list is, what are the requirements? What do you need to have? What are the documentations you need to have to study in Canada? No, so before I go into it, I want to also put it out there that for us here in NECD, we usually advise our client that even before you go through the process of starting any application with the school, that you do well to reach out to whoever is handling your application. Or if you're doing it yourself, go on ahead and know the requirements that you need to study at the Canadian school, what you need to submit a Canadian application, because even if you have been accepted to study in a school and you don't have these requirements to apply for your study permits, I don't think you'll be able to make your dream come through.
But not to worry, guys, we're going to treat some of those requirements, and we also have counselors ready to answer your questions regarding this as well.
So right on our list, so the first thing we have on our list, which is one of the most important things to have if you are a foreign national looking to travel abroad, is your international passport. As we all know, without an international passport, you're not going anywhere. You remain with us here in Nigeria, so you need to have your international passport before you can even think of applying for the second.
Okay. I want to ask, for the international passport parts, how many months validity is required to put in a Canadian study visa application?
Okay, so this is a very important question. We get questions like this. People are asking, I have this amount of validity on my passport, do I need to? Yes. So if you have at least 6 month validity on your passport, you can always use it to apply for a Canadian study permit. However, if you have the ability to renew, please will advise that you renew. But in a situation where that is not available, please know that you can always apply for. In a situation where that's not available, know that you can always apply with your 6 month validity for your Canadian study permit. So the next on our list is your educational credentials.
Okay, I'm going to cut you right off here, Precious. So, is it important to have like an admission letter before applying for a Canadian study permit? Is it very important to have an LOA or a letter of acceptance?
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think I skipped that when I think that is an LOA. An LOA, as we call it in the travel industry, is a short form of what we call the letter of acceptance. So it's as important as your international passport. Now you're looking at applying for a study permit. We're assuming, or you should have already gotten an admission for the the designated learning institute that you want to study at. And usually to get this letter of acceptance, you apply to the school with your educational credential with the desired for the desired course that you would like to. Once you are approved, the institution will issue you an LOA. Most times this will come after you made your tuition deposit, as the school will require, if the school requires such. So this LOA is what guarantees your spot in the course, in the class for that session. So without your LOA, you cannot apply for a study permit. So this study permit is what guarantees that you have been accepted into a designated learning institute in Canada, and your spot or your place in that course and in that class has been secured.
Thank you very much, Precious. Okay, moving on, I will be talking also about another very important document, which is your education credentials. You need to provide all education credentials, like for undergraduates, you can provide your YA for Nigerians and Ghanaians, or your school certificates for your secondary school. You can also provide transcripts as well, and for postgraduates, you can also provide your degree certificate and provide your school transcript. I'll also be talking about a letter of explanation, which is, some people call it the statement of purpose, which states your reason for going to study in Canada. Now this is very important because a Canadian consular would want to look at your intent of study. Now this would cover why you chose Canada, why you're choosing this course, why you want to go to school at this time, and also what you'll be doing with this degree after you're done with your study. So it's very important that you take thoughts in writing this, and we have able counselors that will also help, and visa officers here at NEXI that will assist you in writing this and also put you through the pointers you need to write a successful letter of explanation.
Thank you very much for that. Just to add a little bit to what Anita has said, the letter of explanation or statement of intent is like a very important letter when you're applying for your study permit, as this shows the consular the reason why you've chosen this course. According to what Anita has stated, also when writing your explanation letter, you don't want to be too mechanical. What do I mean to mechanical? You don't want to be out of emotional. You want to have a little bit of emotions while writing. You want to tell a little bit of story. You want to create a synergy between each paragraph you're writing. So the person you're writing to is also a human as you are. So they don't just want to see all of the beautiful things or the beautiful impact or the changes you want to make in the world. They want to see how you arrived at that conclusion of going to study at the time you're going to study at. So thank you very much for that, Anita. So we're moving on to the next requirement of our list, which is your police report, police clearance certificate, or police credentials, as different people know it as. So this is as important as every other document here, because this satisfies that you've been of good conduct. You're not going to go and cause trouble in Canada for them. So for us here in Lagos, the place to get that done is at Anagbon police station. So if you're outside of Lagos, please reach out to the nearest police station closest to you, and they'll direct you on how to go on about that. So we also have something else on our list, which is as important as every other document we mentioned, which is your medicals.
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. So your medicals is a certificate that will certify that you're fit to travel and remain in Canada. Now these are usually done by designated medical institutions in your home country. Now since we have branches in Nigeria and Ghana, we have 2 locations in Nigeria, which is in Abuja and Lagos. So if you're anywhere outside these locations, you will have to travel down before making your study permit application. And if you're also in Ghana, you can travel down into Accra and do these medicals as well, so that we use this to apply for your study permit application. It's very important to know that you need to have this before applying for a study permit. It's very important. And if you're outside this location, please make travel plans. As soon as you have your LOA from your DNI, just know that you can travel in, do this, and then it's valid for 1 year. The cost in Nigeria is about, before, I think it's not up to $100,000. The last time I did it was about 97,000 naira, and then for Ghana it's about 250 Canadian dollars.
Thank you very much for that, Anita. So as she has rightly said, medicals is very important when applying for your study permit application. So if you're outside of this location you just mentioned, please do well to, if you don't know how to go about it, you can always reach out to us if you forget. But however, please, you have to travel to any of these locations to have your medicals done. It's very important to do this before you start your application, as it reduces the wait time for your application process. So going right on into, we're going, just because people sign, we're going to be breezing through the other requirements. Please, if you need more clarifications, don't forget to reach out to us. So you are also supposed to submit home tax. You're supposed to establish home tax, and one of the ways that we advise that you do this is through your employment details. If you have landed properties, if you have family here, if you have study leave from your place of work, you can use that. Also, if you are married, it's very important that you submit a marriage certificate, most especially if you want to travel with your husband, which we are also going to be discussing about traveling with your spouse to Canada later on this line. And now we're getting right to another very important document that you need, which will eventually lead us to talking more about the updates that is happening currently in Canada. So as a January from the Canadian government, one of the documents that you need to apply for a study permit now is your attestation letter that will be given to you from your choice province or territory in Canada. So you need this attestation letter to submit. So this announcement was made in January and I think effective now in March. So you need this attestation letter to submit.
For attestation letters, I'm sure you're wondering what is attestation letter. It's a document that your province or the school's province is going to provide to the school, and the school will in turn provide it to you students to let you know that this school is going to accept you and you have already been accepted by the school and you're a student at this school. So the school will be offering or giving you this letter, and provinces are making sure to provide these letters on or before March 31st of this year. Now you are going to get this letter if you're applying for a postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate work certificate. Thank you very much, Precious. And people who don't need to wait for the school to issue this letter are people that are going for a master's degree or a PhD degree. Now, no, it's very important. If you are going for a master's degree or you're going for a PhD, you don't need to wait for your school or your province to issue you an attestation letter before applying for your study permit. But if you're going for a post-study diploma, postgraduate diploma, or you're going for a postgraduate certificate, you need to apply for, or you need to wait for the school to give you an attestation letter. Also, if you're going for a secondary school, you're going to secondary school, you're going for primary school, you also don't need to wait for this. And if you're applying to extend your study permit, you don't also need to go for this.
Thank you very much, Anita. Just to add a little bit to what she has said. So just to buttress on it, so the attestation letter, coupled to what she has said, also guarantees your spot in the province or the territory that you're going for. As we know, part of the announcement that was made in January, which will be for this year into next year, is that the Canadian government will be putting a cap on all study permit applications that will be issued to foreign nationals. And that cap, I think I have my statistics here. Just give me a little bit to open it so I can give you an exact figure. So the cap will be for 2 years and has been reduced by 25%. So foreign nationals is left with just about 2,959 study permits that will be issued to every foreign national. So the implication of this is that it's very important that you start your application on time so that the cap doesn't affect you. Now this cap is specifically for those going for undergraduate program, postgraduate certificate and postgraduate diploma. This in no way, as my colleague had rightly mentioned, it doesn't affect master's program, doesn't affect master's student program, doesn't affect PhD student. So if you're looking at going for a PhD program or a master's program, I can assure you that you'll be clear. So what if you're going for a postgraduate certificate program or a postgraduate diploma, please, because of the cap that has been put in place and because of the issuance of attestation letter, we are strongly advising that you are putting your application on time. This would mean if you want to go for a September intake, please do not wait until August to apply, because in situations like this, we might not be able to guarantee the success of such application or if you issue an attestation letter. And just so to add to it, just in case your application is already in process and we have a few provinces that are already issuing attestation letter. We have Alberta is already issuing, British Columbia is also issuing, I think Saskatchewan is also issuing. And just so you are assured, you don't need to make any payment for this. Usually the school would send you details that we need to issue you the attestation letter to your mail. And then if this is done, you get your attestation letter in a few days, in 2 to 3 days. So if you're already in the process of getting your attestation letter, please advise that you look out for your mail so that you don't miss this. And once you get your attestation letter, we advise that you immediately, don't waste time, you submit your study permit so your spots will not be taken, because the attestation letter is what guarantees that the province has made provisions specifically for you to come and study in Canada. So please, if you still need more explanation on this, don't forget, please reach out to us.
So just to reiterate what my colleague is saying is, if your school falls under the British Columbia, falls under Alberta, and falls under Saskatchewan provinces, please be on the lookout for your attestation letters. We've started getting attestation letters for our students. Please be on the lookout. If you have any inquiries or you need further clarifications, we're always here to respond to you free of charge. We don't charge you to ask us questions.
Thank you. We don't charge you to ask us questions. Also, our knowledge for you, for your consultations, are free. So please do well to reach out to us. So next on the list is we are going to be discussing on other updates that has happened over time, and one of which we can't fail to portray, as this is like one of the most important things, as well as other, but this is very important when applying for a study permit, is your finances. Most of us must have never heard, or the ones that have not heard, but we're still going to be here to clarify these finances. So as of December 2023, the government of Canada updated how much you will need to study in Canada. So initially, to study in Canada, to prove your proof of funds, you will be needing just 10,000 Canadian dollars, and for each dependent you need to add, I think, 4,000, 5,000, and 3,000 for each accompanying dependent. But there was an update to that as of December 2023, which became effective in January. And so we're just going to be running you through the update and the changes. So for students going to study in Canada now, as of January, unlike before, which you just need just 10,000 Canadian dollars, now you need around 20,686 Canadian dollars to prove that you have more than enough to cater for you for the rest of the year. This will mean if you are going to study, so I'm going to give a vivid illustration and explanation now. This will mean if you are looking at to study, let me say for instance Conestoga, I think Conestoga, the tuition fee for studying in Conestoga is around 19,000 Canadian dollars, and they will usually require that you pay a tuition deposit of 9,000 Canadian dollars. That 9,000 Canadian is very important because that secures the spot and allows you to be issued an attestation letter. So the balance of that will be around 10,000 Canadian dollars. So this will mean 10,000 Canadian dollars plus the amount of living expense you need to sustain yourself for 1 year, which is 20,636. So that is $10,000, 10,000 Canadian dollars plus 20,636,
which is a whooping 30,636 Canadian dollars.
So we are really happy and really optimistic, because as I yesterday, exchange rate came down for Canadian dollars. It came down lesser than 8,000 naira. So we are hoping that it will still do the same. So whatever country or what currency you like to keep your money in, so you want to do well to convert this amount to the equivalent of whichever amount you're submitting your proof of funds in, which is Usually, the Canadian government will say you should submit a 4 month bank statement, but we strongly advise that you submit a 6 month bank statement. So whichever currency you be submitting your own funds in, you want to do this conversion. You want to do a conversion of your tuition deposit balance, that's the balance of your tuition fee and your living expenses. You want to show that in the currency that you are showing it in with the current exchange rate. So for us, the official conversion site we use, official, is Rwanda. So it's easily accessible on your browser. You want to go on Rwanda and do a conversion for that day. So these are the financial updates that we have at hand. So you are looking at studying in Canada. So we want to take into cognizance the fact that the fees for living expense has increased, and you want to have a holistic view, because if you don't have up to the amount that you need, your application might most likely be denied.
And to just add to that, just to reiterate what she said, is the living expense has been increased for students from 10,000 Canadian dollars to 20,636 Canadian dollars for students, and dependents now have 5,055 Canadian dollars as their living expense. So if you're traveling with your wife, you're traveling with your children, depending on the number of dependents that you have, you need to calculate 5,055 Canadian dollars per dependent. So you need to pay your tuition fee. You need to remember that you have tuition deposits. You add your tuition deposit to your living expense, and you have your cost of living for your study permit application. If you need clarifications on this, we have counselors and visa officers that are willing and happy to answer and clarify this for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Anita. We're still here, so please drop your question. We will take it just immediately before we end the live. So just to reiterate on what Anita has said, that this is a fee that has been added, and if you have more than one dependent that's going on with you, which we're going to still discuss eventually as we go, please reach out to us. We do it honor to doing the calculation, so you don't miss out, just in case you're confused. So I just want to repeat what I've said before. So one of the additional requirements that has been added for all Canadian students, except those going for master's program or PhD, is very important, the attestation letter. And this is because there's a cap of 35% that has been study permit has been reduced by 35% for everybody going to study in Canada. So sorry about that. So the next on our list is we're going to be talking about dependent and postgraduate work permits, which I'm very sure most of you have been waiting for. So we're going to talk about that. Do you have anything to say just before we go on?
Okay, so just to put that out there, we are just trying to let you know that don't give up your hopes of studying in Canada just because of these new changes. You still have time to apply. If you're going for September intake, your spouse still has chances of getting a open work permit, which is a spousal open work permit. So apply now. You have chances. Don't sit back. Don't relax. Don't give up. There is still time. And the exchange rate is dropping. Hopefully it doesn't go back up. We're recording and we've been following it since last week, and it has been coming down a bit. So please, if you have the money and you're ready, you want to go, don't say, oh, don't be relaxed and still trying to make a decision. Make a decision on time. If you're going with your wife, if you're going with your children, going with your husband, your spouse, try to start your application on time. The more time you have on the application, the better your chances are for Canada. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So just to add a little bit more to what Anita has said. So based on dependents, so we know, I don't know if you know, we're just going to repeat it, that part of the updates coupled to the attestation letter, the cap, and the finances that's been increased is that dependents, specifically dependents, which is husbands to applicants going to study, can no longer apply for an open work permit. However, this is effective not until September. So if your intake is in May, if you're going to study in May, you can still apply with your husband. Now, this cap doesn't affect master students or PhD student, as we've said earlier. So whichever time if you're going for a master's application, whichever time you would love to, so you would love to go with your, if you love to go with your husband, you can always go. However, if you're going for postgraduate diploma, postgraduate certificate, you won't be able to go with your spouse as at September. However, if your intake is before that, you can go with your spouse. However, this update doesn't affect for children. So even if you're going for a postgraduate postgraduate diploma or postgraduate certificate, you can still apply for your children to go with you. However, after September, your husband will no longer be eligible for a proper work permit, but he can always apply for a visitor's visa. Yeah. So another thing on our list is postgraduate work permit, because the truth is that when you go and study in Canada, you want to make Canadian dollars before coming back to Nigeria. So as we all know, studying in Canada guarantees you to apply for a 3 years study work permit. But initially this was based on the duration of your course. So if you were going for a course below 2 years, you would only get a 1 year postgraduate work permit. But part of the update is that if you're going for a master's program, even if you're going for a 1 year master's course, you would be able to apply for your 3 years postgraduate work permit. So if you have a high 2-1, you can defend your case very well. I advise that you go for a master's program. It is very, all of this obviously doesn't affect you as a master's program also. So I think we're getting to the end, but still we still have a few more things to say. Do you have something to add to it now?
Well, like I said earlier, the earlier you apply, the better your chances of getting your study permit application. So please do well to reach out to us if you have any questions, and don't give up as well when you are putting in, because of this whole, the changes that are being made. Don't give up. The earlier you make a decision to want to go to Canada, the better we can advise you on your chances and opportunities that you have in studying in Canada as well. So what I want to do now is take questions. If you have questions, please drop them so myself and Precious can always reach out to you. Once again, my name is Anita, and I have my colleague Precious here, and we talked about the new developments in Canada study applications. So if you have any questions, please drop the questions. We'll be more than happy to take them here. And if you need detailed information from us that you feel we have not treated rightly in this live, we would also transfer you to able counselors that can respond to you and clarify whatever you need.
Okay, in addition to what Anita has said, while we're waiting for your questions, please keep it coming. While we're waiting for your questions.
Okay, hi Justice King. So I have a question from Justice King's here. He's asking, can HND holders apply for studies in Canada?
Well, yes, HND holders can apply for studies in Canada, but first of all, you want to qualify for the course that you want to go for. Once, as we said earlier, once you have been issued your LOA as well as your attestation letter, that means you have been satisfied by the school to study in Canada. That means you've created a space for you and they've allowed you to come. Very well, you can now go ahead to apply to your study permit. So you know what we're mentioning, I realized that I skipped something. Okay. So it's just, this is going to be a deterrent factor for us so we don't make the mistakes. So there are some schools in Canada called private public institutions. These private public institutions don't have what I mentioned earlier as the DLI, which is designated learning institute, is a number or an allocation that's been given to certain institutes. These schools latch on to schools that have DLIs. So if make your proper research, or rather we can say be distressful, you just come to us. So we'll do the research for you, so that you don't go to a school that doesn't have the ability to issue you postgraduate work permit. Now, these public-private colleges, don't have the ability to issue your postgraduate work permit. So part of the updates that was made was that Canadian government has restricted such schools from issuing postgraduate work permits to students because they believe that they give low quality for the amount of money that they collect. So they are only giving rights to colleges and institutions that has been rightly approved. So you want to do your due diligence, or you want to come to us, so we'll help you do the due diligence of finding out if these schools are not private public, so that you don't go through the hassle or through the stress of paying and realizing that you're not qualified for applying for a postgraduate work permit.
Okay, I want to ask the question of what Justice Kings just asked. Can a HND holder get a master's in Canada?
Well, no. I would outrightly say no to that, because most BSc holders might not get a master's program. Why? Master's program is a program that is a little bit hard to get into. Why? Because they require very high grades. And high grade, when I mean high to one, you're looking at a 4 points or a first class to get into it. However, a HND holder can easily get a postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate certificate as long as you have a high written honors from your HND course that you have studied.
Okay, let me take some more questions. I have a question from Godwin. Hello, Godwin. So Godwin is asking, can third-class students apply to Canadian schools?
So yes, so we can say in a sense that third-class students fall in the category of HND students. So you might not get a master's program, and I just want to put it out there that Canada is not so much big on masters. See, the difference between a master's program and a postgraduate diploma in Canada is just the mode of study. So postgraduate diploma is more like a hands-on professional degree, while Canada is more of a theoretical part of it. That is, you want to be an academia, you want to go on to be a professor, or one of those things. But if you're looking at to work at the end of the day, postgraduate diploma is a beautiful course for you. However, if you still want to further to a master's program, postgraduate diploma also gives you the opportunity. So if for a class graduate, you can easily get into a postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate certificate. However, we can also run you through the process and give you various options that we might not have explicitly mentioned here. So you can always send us a
okay. Thank you very much, Precious, for that. Okay, hello, Ebon. Ebon is asking, would provinces are likely to give attestation letter easily, please? Okay, yes, provinces are giving attestation letters, although some provinces have started giving others before some other provinces. Like we mentioned earlier, we have the British Columbia, we have Alberta and Saskatchewan already giving out attestation letters. But if your school or your province has not started issuing attestation letter, please note that we have the March 31st deadline for schools to start issuing these attestation letters. Thank you very much, Ebon, for that. I have another question from Godwin here. Do I have to pay to get my attestation letter from my school? As we stated earlier in the live, no, you do not have to pay, and you do not have to apply for an attestation letter. The school automatically will issue you one once you have applied for an admission to that school. I have another question here from Justice. It says, what if I am not in Nigeria but I want to apply from an European country? How can you help? Do I need to come down to Nigeria?
Okay, thank you, Justice, for that question. So part of the outline that we have here is also for people that maybe because of the changes or the increase in finances might not be able to go to Canada anymore. So we have good news for you. All hope is not lost. We have other European countries that are currently working in, and we have partnership with schools, and we have a way to easily navigate you through the process. So yes, if you can't go to a Canadian school, if you're not in Nigeria, and you want to study in an European country, for instance, we currently have schools available and open for France. Yes, we can navigate you through whichever country you are in. You don't have to come back to Nigeria. We have VACs that represent these countries in every location you are in. So please, you can send us a direct message and we'll run you through the country that you are and help you through the process. So no, you do not have to come down to Nigeria to get the process done. All of these countries are duly represented in each of the countries that they are allowed to come into their nation. So no, you don't have to come down to Nigeria to apply. So we also have another question here for Oni. Okay, she's saying,
I'm sorry, Precious, before we take the next question, I just want to state that although we have said that we do applications for Nigerians and Ghanaian students, we also do applications for people from other countries as well. So if you are in Morocco, if you are in America, if you're watching this live from China, we can also put in study applications for you and walk you through your visa processes. So please don't feel please don't feel that this is just for Nigerian and Ghanaian students as well. Wherever you are, even if you're Nigerians or Ghanaians or from any other country, no matter where you're from, we help everyone put in a study application, we will help everyone put in a study permit, and we are your go-to plug for studying abroad. Okay, Precious, we're about to take a question.
Okay, so we have a question from Owen. She's saying, applying for an undergraduate degree, can one travel with family? No. So, no, even before the updates for an undergraduate program, you can travel with family. Why? Yeah, there are a couple of reasons, but I'm just going to give one. Applying for an undergraduate program is thinking that you're being cared for by a family here. And there's also an age limit. Canada is very age sensitive. There's an age limit that allows you to apply for an undergraduate program, which is below the age of 25. Even 25 itself is a very risky age. So you want to look at an 18-year-old to 22. That's like the max that we advise for people to apply for an undergraduate program. And because undergraduate program is a longer duration, and it also doesn't allow the students to work. So for an undergraduate program, you cannot legally work. So I don't think Canada would assume that at that point you have a family that you want to go with, but no, undergraduate program doesn't allow you to go with your family.
Alright. And just to clarify, these things are treated on a case-by-case basis. So depending on your case or your scenario, even if you're 23 or 24 or 25 and you have valid reasons for why you have not done your undergraduate, you can still put in an application, and if you have a strong case, you might get a visa. Yes, you start the chance of getting a visa.
Thank you guys.
Okay, I have a question here from T Berry about the proof of funds. My sponsor just deposited the proof of fund to her account. Hope that does not affect my application when I start with it soon for the September batch. Okay, so if I get your question clearly, you're saying your sponsor just deposited the total money you'll be needing for your application, and you're hoping it does not affect the application for September intake. I hope I got that question right.
Okay, when we are speaking about proof of funds, right? I've stated earlier, proof of funds is like 50% more guarantees your application. So you want to 100% get it right. And about getting it right, we have to actually have a conversation with you on how this money came about, your relationship with your sponsor, to better advise on how to go about this. So this is a very good question, but this is not very explicit. So please, sir, T-Berry, please, you can send us a message, you can send us a DM, and we'll have a more elaborate conversation on this question. Now, we are assuring you that we'll give you a solution and advise you and know how to walk you through following. So please do well to do that, so we'll better understand the background system. You see, finances is a very touchy and dicey. There's no one size fits all. is by case by case basis. So something might work for somebody else and might not work for the other. So we actually need to have a conversation with the client to know how to better advise you, or the documents that you might be needing to back up the finances that has been deposited. So we're expecting a message from you, sir or ma.
Alright, thank you T-Berry. We're expecting your message so we can better advise you. Guys, please put in your questions, send your questions. We're here and we're available to respond to them. Hello Faye and Joy, hello Tola, hello Wendy, hello everyone. We're excited to respond to your questions. And just in case you missed the live and you're just joining us, we talked about the new changes. We talked about the new changes that came about this year, 2024. We talked about eligibility criteria. We also talked about required documents for your study permit application. So if you missed it, we will always post this live again on our Instagram channel. Also, if you feel more comfortable having face-to-face conversations with our counselors and visa advisors, you can always come to our branches in Lagos, come to our branches in Abuja and Port Harcourt. That is if you're in Nigeria. And if you're in Ghana, you can also go to our branch in Accra. We have all the addresses on our Instagram bio. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you Godwin. Thank you Sophie. Hello everyone, and we're very happy to always bring you updated information every Wednesday. Thank you for joining us today, and we will be seeing you next Wednesday live. We are always available.
Just before we go, I just wanted to add something. People usually forget that they are supposed to pay visa fee biometrics fee when they apply for a study permit. So this is a very, very important part of your study application.
Okay.
So you are supposed to pay visa fee and biometrics fee. That is if so. What the requirements when putting in your study application is that you have to go for biometrics at a registered VAC at the city that you are. But for Canada only has 2 VACs in Nigeria, which is in Abuja and in Lagos, which is BFS. So, but if you are giving your biometrics in the last 10 years, you wouldn't have to do that. But just to put it out there, you are paying visa fee. The application is not free.
How much is the visa fee?
So, visa fee for Canadian study, the visa fee is $150 Canadian dollars, and the biometrics is $85 Canadian dollars. That is totally $235. Yes, $235. So you have that in mind. And if you're paying from Nigeria, you'll most likely be paying in dollars, because I don't think Canadian dollars are readily available to us. However, if you have somebody that is in Canada that can make the payment for you, as we said, the FX is reducing. It's really reducing. So we're advising, and we're strongly advising, if you want to go to Canada, please go now. But however, if you're having a change of mind, we have a lot of options for you. We have a lot of other cheaper options for you that you can go for. So please don't give up on your dream of studying abroad or relocating abroad. We're here to guide you through the process, and we're showing you we're not going to give up on you, because my God, we're going to be on your DM 247.
Literally.
So we're going to be on your DM 247, bring you different updates and different things. So please do not give up on your dream. We have a lot of options. Like I'm telling you, you can't exhaust it. We have a lot of options for you. And as my colleague has said, we're really happy for having you and having you have us asking us all these beautiful questions. Thank you so much, Godwin. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us, for listening to us and asking us your questions. So we're also looking forward to receiving you in our DMs to doing business with you.
Alright. Thank you very much, Precious. So everyone, it's a wrap. Goodbye. See you guys Wednesday next week.